Hello and welcome to Chapter 23, the Male and Female Reproductive System. When we look at this chapter, we are going to look briefly at the male reproductive system in terms of the structure and look at the functions of each of these structures. Then briefly hormonal control. We're also going to look at testosterone here because testosterone will regulate some male secondary male characteristics. Then we're going to look at the female system and in terms of the structure quite a bit actually on the menstrual cycle, because that's an excellent example of negative feedback loop by hormonal control, and not a lot of discussion with disorders either male or female. Okay. When you look at the reproductive system, the male reproductive system, basically you have the testes, which is the organ where the sperm is produced. The sperm is produced in these seminiferous tubules. Then it is stored in what's called the epididymis. So if we're looking at the life cycle of the sperm, second my pen's here, it is in the testes. When you look at the testes, there's all these seminiferous tubules. If you were to take the cross section of the seminiferous tubule, you will see that there are primitive spermatozoa or primitive sperm on the outside, and then as they mature they move to the middle or the lumen of the seminiferous tubule, and then they will continue their journey. The seminiferous tubules will all join to the epididymis, and it's the epididymis where the sperm are stored. Then it will continue its journey through the vas deferens. Then after the vas deferens, so here's the epididymis here. Epi means above, so it is stored on top of the testicles. Now the whole testicle area and its related blood vessels and nerves are in the scrotum, which is the sac below. We'll talk a little bit about the muscle that holds the scrotum closer and pulls it in tight. That has to do with the fact that mature sperm are more active at 2 degrees below body temperature. So as a result, they are outside the body to stay cooler, to be more functional. So then the sperm will continue its pathway through the epididymis, up the epididymis, through the vas deferens. The vas deferens will then go past what's called the seminiferous tubules. In the let's try that again. The vas deferens joins to the seminal vesicles, or goes past the tube for the seminal vesicles. After the seminal vesicles, the vas deferens becomes the ejaculatory duct. The seminal vesicle is the place where it is given nutrients to form the sperm and to help with the semen. When you look at the textbook, in the textbook, in chapter 23, just a second, in the textbook, we talk about the seminal vesicles are the place where there will be a simple sugar added. Here we go. Simple sugar is added, and this will help in the proper nutrients of the spermatozoa. Now, once you have the seminal fluid and the sperm together, you have semen. Then there's another gland called the prostate gland. The prostate gland is the gland located at the base of the bladder. It will regulate whether urine goes through or ejaculatory fluid comes through. So the prostate gland also adds extra fluid. And then there's another gland here, the bulbourethral gland, also called Cooper's gland. The bulbourethral gland, sorry, that's a tricky one to say. The bulbourethral gland also helps with fluid. So if we look in the textbook, it's a good summary here. So seminiferous fluid is alkaline and sugars. Prostate gland is alkaline, helps neutralize the vaginal acidity, enhance the motility. And then if we go up to the bulbourethral gland, you now have the lubrication of the urethra, and it also lubricates the tip of the penis during sexual stimulation. Okay, you need to know these glands in terms of their secretions, please. Then once you get to so you've got the sperm will, once they get past the seminal vesicles, it becomes the ejaculatory duct. Then the fluid joins the prostate, and the more fluid from the bulbourethral gland. And then during ejaculation, the sperm will go out through the penis, the urethra in the penis. So here's where the urethra will share the same pathway as the urine. Okay? As I mentioned before, the testes need to be cooler in order for successful and active sperm to be formed. They start during development, fetal development. The testes will start in the abdomen, and they descend. So at 9 months, just before birth, they are descending. Now, there are complications if they don't descend, but it can easily be brought down. As they descend through the abdominal wall, you have the inguinal canal. Concerns about the inguinal canal is quite often an inguinal hernia will occur there when usually intestines, other organs other than the blood supply and the nerve tissue go through the inguinal canal. Good. So we talked about the internal structures. We've looked at a cross section. Now, in between the seminiferous tubules are called interstitial cells, sometimes called Sertoli cells. The interstitial cells are important. It's the interstitial cells that will develop testosterone. Now, testosterone is the male sex hormone. It will maintain the reproductive structure. It develops a spermatozoa, which will then later come on to be sperm. Plus, it's testosterone that produces those secondary male sex characteristics. So if you think of the manly man, you have the deep voice, the broad shoulders, narrow hips, muscular, and lots of body hair. That is a result of testosterone. It also sometimes builds up muscle mass, but there's still discussion about that and discussion about aggression. When we look at the sperm or the spermatozoon, the sperm are very streamlined. They have a head, a middle piece, and a tail. The head itself is got an enzyme pack on the end of it. So once it gets to the egg, this enzyme can help break down the covering of the egg. Then there's a nucleus, and remember the nucleus only contains half of the genetic material. And there is this area, the mid piece, which has a lot of mitochondria. Mitochondria is needed for energy because it's mitochondria that form the ATP, which is used as energy. Then you have your tail, and the tail is used for sperm motility, okay? And the male system is pretty straightforward. The accessory organs help put together the semen. Now, the semen is a mixture of sperm and the secretions from the organs, so the seminal vesicles, which will secrete an alkaline solution, also high in sugar. Prostate again, is also for neutralizing the acidity. So the whole function of the semen is to nourish the spermatozoa, help transport the spermatozoa, neutralize the acid of the urethra, which helps neutralize the effects of leftover urine, and also neutralizes the female vagina. It also will lubricate the tract during intercourse, and it will prevent infections of antibacterial enzymes and antibodies. Now, when it comes to an erection, the penis has vascular tissue in it. This is a cross section of the penis. You do not need to know all the specific names. You just need to realize the penis has a lot of spongy material in it. So here are the spongy areas. So you have your blood supply and the nerve supply. You also have the urethra, which is the delivery tube for the sperm. And it is all covered with skin. During an erection, what happens is the blood supply will increase, and this vascular tissue, or the spongy tissue, will engorge with blood. That will result in it getting harder. As a result, you have increased blood supply to the penis and a decreased blood flow away, and that ends up with the penis enlarging during delivery of the sperm. Okay, so the erection is a result of smooth muscle contractions, and the erection is the forceful expulsion of semen during sexual activity. Good. When we look at hormonal control of the male, there's basically two hormones that we're looking from. They come from the anterior pituitary, and it kept the female names. Initially, they had different names, thinking that the male and female hormones are different. So it kind of doesn't make sense that you've got follicle stimulating hormone when you have no follicles being stimulated. But it's the same hormone that stimulates the follicles in the egg of the female, will promote sperm formation in the male. Notice these come from the pituitary, the anterior pituitary. So you have follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone will affect the gametes, which is the spermatozoons, and luteinizing hormone will stimulate testosterone development, and then testosterone development goes back and also helps with the spermatozoon. Okay? Luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. And that's pretty much the male system in terms of its control. As the males age, there is decrease in the production of testosterone. When we look at other disorders, you're looking at issues with the delivery of sperm or formation of sperm. Vasectomy is the cutting of the vas deferens. When you look at, there's a video on the unit plan, but pretty much what you do in a vasectomy is they take on the scrotum, they make a little incision on the scrotum and cut the tube. Very simple relative to female sterilization, because the vas deferens is very close to the surface and relatively easy to get to. There's all sorts of infections, sexually transmitted infections, and tumors. Now, one thing to notice, testicular cancer is one of those cancers that occur in young men. In females, when it comes to self-checking, you hear about taking breast examinations. Most men don't realize that testicular cancer is easily, occurs in younger men and easily detected. All you have to do is palpate the testicle for any lumps or tumors, and that it's suggested that that be done in the shower every couple of weeks. Okay, That is the males. Pretty straightforward compared to the female system. I will do that on